Hey folks, before we get to the AMA in this video, I just wanted to thank this video sponsor, Dice Dreams. Dice Dreams is a free-to-play game where you can explore worlds, rebuild empires, and battle against other players through dice rolls. I've been making my way through the game for the past week and I've been having a really good time exploring creative worlds and rolling for prizes. My favourite part of the game is the really expressive characters and the animations, also the character designs as well. Just look at this Chad. You're also able to compete in tournaments, take part in events, and there's also PvP to steal from or even destroy other players' kingdoms. The game is free to play and available on both Android and the iOS App Store. And best of all, Mr. TARDIS viewers get an offer where if you download the game through my affiliate link in the description and in the comment section below, then not only can you help to support my channel, but you'll also get 200 free dice rolls and also 1 million coins on the third day of playing Dice Dreams, which will help you to set up your kingdom. Thanks to Dice Dreams and the folks over at Superplay for their support, and I'll see you folks on the game board. Can't end the last live stream of 2021 on this, okay? It's not happening. No. And Harvey in the chat, hey Mr. TARDIS, how come there was no Sember this year, like Master Sember or Dr. Sember? There was no formal Sember, but there is still a marathon. But yeah, if you go on my channel, you'll find that I have been doing my own marathon. It's not Master Sember or Cyber Sember, but it is still a marathon that I've been doing this December of the top 50 Doctor Who moments of the revival. We made it into the top 10 this week. Harvey says, I'm looking forward to next year. You're looking forward to next year's marathon before this current marathon's even over? Thank you. You know, see if... see if I think of something for next year. I've been holding off on doing the compilation of Cyber Sember because I'm like, I've got this feeling in my loins and my chest, although that could be like heart palpitations because of too much tea and coffee. That could be an issue. But in terms of, I'm holding off on the Cyber Sember compilation because I've got a niggling feeling that they're going to be in one of the specials next year. So I'm going to hold off on that first. But next year, because we do have a Doctor departure and a Doctor regeneration, or at least a final story, I'm hoping that I'm going to do some ranking lists of like best Doctors, best regeneration stories and stuff like that. Scott Jared asks, Mr. TARDIS, may I use the bathroom? If you've got headphones, you may, because it means that you can take me with you. Faulty TARDIS asks Will, what character would you want to write a Doctor Who spin-off about? Oh god, if Big Finish were like, hey, write a story, you can pick whatever box set or character you want, and actor availability is not an issue, because it's resonated with me so much and it's quite topical and current. The Adventures of Belle and Baby Belle from Doctor Who Flux, her travelling across the universe, that's a great, I think that's a great box set idea. You'd get a couple of stories out of that. I think trying to find your significant other at the end of the universe, I think that's a lovely story. Alex Runa Composer, with the exception of the current Akinola theme, which version of the main theme would you say is your favourite? So Alex Rooney says the 1996 TV movie theme by John Debney. That's a wonderful theme. I like the Series 4 version of the Murray Gold theme, which has got the guitar in it. I'm also quite partial to the 7th Doctor version. I don't think it's like particularly moody or atmospheric, but the way it explodes into the intro, the animation, of course, I know you're talking about the theme, but for me, the actual imagery of the intro and the music itself is inseparable to me. And Winnie is just sort of like looming like above me, so it's a bit scary. Right. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to go for those two, Alex. Thank you so much for the question. Amy Greenberg says, do you want Rusty Davis to bring back the Christmas specials? If he wants to do them, I'm all here for it. I think it will be a case of the BBC will give him the time slot he wants. If he wants to do Christmas specials, the BBC are going to give him one. I think that's what it's going to be. Whether or not there's a Christmas special next year remains to be seen. It wouldn't surprise me if they did that move, though. That would be interesting to see. TFL Creative Media, when you do your review of Eve of the Daleks, will you have the Dalek Sember intro? Probably will, yeah. I probably will. Tony Parker, ever thought of doing a video about working in the British TV industry, like tips and stuff? I've got a few really old ones, on my channel, but they might be a little bit outdated. I sometimes talk about it on stream every so often. But basically my main advice, just really quickly, is to join Facebook groups of like your region, freelance Facebook groups, get your CV to local TV news stations or local radio stations and stuff like that, and be upfront about your lack of credits or your lack of experience, but you really want to learn and you've got all these transferable skills from any other job that you may have done. Bobby RB Alex says, if you was the showrunner for Doctor Who, what would you do? Loaded question. I think I talked about this last week, but a really short version is that I'd do something similar to Russell T Davies, where I would make the companion kind of the main character who changes, and that they have the arc for a season or 2 seasons. As much as I enjoy like Mandip Gill, I think having a companion on for like 3 seasons in a row, but just kind of having her be a hanger-on without very much agency or growth or change tangibly on screen, it kind of makes the companion role feel a little bit redundant. There's not really much going on there. Whereas if you've got a character like Donna Noble, who really does change over the course of her stories, that's the approach. And the Doctor is the supporting character with the flat arc, who doesn't really change or grow that much, but is mainly there to be the live wire. Dr. Mew, do you think if the talking cat in Ontario that was mentioned in Praxis should appear in the show? 100%, yeah. That they should get like Aardman should do like a stop motion story about that. So that should be the next Christmas special. Matt Campbell, given RTD's reference about Doctor Who being comparable to the MCU, what spin-offs do you think would be a good, interesting idea? Fugitive Doctor, 100%. And the Ace Adventures, the Adventures of Dorothy McShane. Right, I'm going to quick fire some of these. Ollie Tomlinson Music, pair any 3 Doctors for a Big Finish story, who would you choose? Ones who are actively working at Big Finish, so I can't pick Peter Capaldi, Matt Smith, or Jodie Whittaker. I'd have to go for Christopher Eccleston, Sylvester McCoy, and Tom Baker. I'm going to go for those 3. Curiosity Rock says, if 14 is an animal person, what animal would you choose? Cat. There we go. They're in the room with me, so I'm biased. AJ Rodriguez, thoughts on Chris Chibnall making a festive special, a romantic comedy? Yeah, it works. They've kind of been the underpinnings there for Resolution. Resolution had the 2 council members, the archaeologists, who sort of had the will they weren't they romance. I think it's nice. You've got also Dan and Di in Doctor Who Flux, who've got the really cute romance before he's late and then she never wants to talk to him again. So yeah, it's clearly something that Chibnall likes doing, and if he wants to do it, then that sounds fun. William Lee says, thoughts on having an annual Doctor Who Halloween special, maybe scarier than usual Who? Yeah, that would be cool. I think it was a smart move to have the opening of Flux be a Halloween story. I just wish they maybe leaned into it a bit more. They just had the one scene with trick-or-treaters and pumpkins in the background and stuff on the street. They really could have leaned into it a bit more, I think. Maybe if there weren't as many COVID restrictions and they could have had more extras and stuff, they probably could have done more with it. Casey Gecko says, what episodes/villains would work as standalone feature films without reference to the Doctor or the wider Doctor Who canon? Kind of similar to the Daleks in Dalek Invasion of Earth 2150 AD, the Peter Cushing films, I imagine. That's sort of the frame of reference I'm going to go for here. And definitely Cybermen. Like, you don't need the Cybermen. You don't need the Doctor at all to tell a compelling Cybermen story. Like, you absolutely do not. Yeah, I think the Cybermen are the way to go about it, because I think just the idea of like the ship of Theseus, of like when does humanity end and Cybermen begin, and yeah, everything about that. I think that's just interesting, even without the whole Doctor Who framework. Harvey asks, if you were going to design the next TARDIS interior, what would you make it look like? Honestly, I might just be boring and just be like, bring back the Peter Capaldi set. I like the metallic set. I wasn't a big fan of the organic look of the 13th Doctor's TARDIS. I'd try and differentiate myself from that. But yeah, more metallic with a lot of levels, like balconies and stairs and winding, spiraling staircases. A lot of levels that directors can have a lot of fun with to make those expository scenes at the beginning of episodes with the Doctor and the companion visually really interesting. Tony Parker says, what food and drinks will be on the Mr. TARDIS holiday menu? So me and the wife are vegetarian, so it's going to be corn roast. We got a fake meat and cranberry Wellington, Yorkshire puddings, of course, roast potatoes, parsnips, carrots, sprouts, gravy, cranberry sauce, etc., etc. We've got camembert as well with garlic bread type dip. That's going to be our starter. We've got Bucks Fizz. We've got mulled wine. We've got, that's basically going to be it. It's going to be more or less the same as everybody else's, but it's going to be vegetarian. Ollie Tomlinson Music says, where's the Trilby hat? It's in a cupboard over there. I won't get it, but it is over there. It is still here. And crispy parsnips are amazing, says the chat. Yeah, it's great. But you can't really go wrong. As long as you, like, cover them in flour and roast them for the right amount of time, then you can't go wrong with parsnips. Really easy to do. If you mess up parsnips, that's like something fundamentally wrong with your cooking. So, Robert McGinn says, if you could write your own historical story, who do you like the Doctor to meet? I'm considering F1 drivers James Hunt and Niki Lauda. That would be really cool, but oh boy, that would be a tough subject matter to do without like showing the kind of the grisly aftermath. That would be cool though. That would be an interesting story. Now, honestly, in these scenarios of if I was showrunner, if I was writer, the whole historical story element would 1,000% be my weakness. Like, oh my goodness, no good. Historical Doctor Who would absolutely be my kryptonite. I would need like a Mark Gatiss style co-writer on my creative team to just handle all of that stuff. All right, I'll just be like, I want this story to have this character element, or to have this arc, or this journey, or actors who are like this, but you've got to do everything else. Okay, I'm very sorry, Mark. And I'd let him do it. So honestly, for historical stories, that's my kryptonite. I don't know what I'd do. I don't know where I'd have them go. So I'm very sorry to disappoint Robert, but I've not got a clue. Douglas Smith, beard's looking good. Thank you. I grew it myself. Thank you. This is actually like peak beard time. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to wake up and it will all be scraggly and it'll be curly and it'll be terrible. You've caught it at the perfect time. This is like the perfect, appropriate time before it gets a bit too unmanageable. I will be shaving it between now and the 3rd of January, where I do my next live stream. I'm not shaving it all off. I'll be trimming it and cleaning it. But yeah, this is the last time for a bit you'll see it this luscious. Ollie Thomason Music, you could bring back one companion. Who would it be? Susan or Ace? Just for like a one-off thing. The fact that has not happened is tantamount to like an actual war crime, and I think I need to ring up the Geneva Convention, okay? This is something that needs official authorities to be looking at, because the wasted opportunities being just left on the table here are criminal, basically. It needs to be done at some point before it is too late. Lee New says, when listening to a Big Finish story, how easy do you find it to envisage the world that is being described to you? Basically, if I'm listening to a Big Finish story, like I needed to listen to the first installment of Warbringer like twice before it really clicked, because I was, doing washing up or I was doing something, so I would sometimes dip in and out and then I'd be completely lost. It was a really dense story, but when it has my undivided attention, I do tend to like imagine like camera shots, and like I imagine the actors and the performances and the expressions and stuff like that. Sometimes I even like imagine it kind of like a Macra Terror style animated recreation. Sometimes that's where my mind goes, but yeah, I'm able to quite easily envisage it as long as that story has my undivided attention. Like, I couldn't do that when I was driving, at least not without causing some severe harm, and then the police will be knocking at my door, not at the not at the showrunner's door for not using Susan or Ace. TFL Creative Media says, are you like Rusty Davis in the sense that you see yourself as the companion rather than the Doctor? I don't see myself, when writing for it, I wouldn't see myself as either, for either an audience standing, because Rusty Davis, he says that when growing up, he wanted to be the companion, he did not want to be the Doctor. Now, for me, not saying if this approach is necessarily better or worse, of course, Russell, he's the professional writer, and I am just on a live stream, but Russell, he uses, like, the companions as the audience surrogate, whereas I think I'm kind of more interested in the story and the journey. Not saying that Rusty Davis, I'm probably wording this very, very badly, but yeah, I wouldn't place that personal focus on the characters myself, at least not as a actual starting point or as the main driver to telling the story. Tony Parker says, what would you like Big Finish to do with Dodo in upcoming box sets? Just more of Dodo. Lauren Cornelius is terrific. She's so good in that box set. She is awesome. Dodo was so great in the Secrets of Det Sen, and the fact that they gave her one of the most brutal acts of violence in Doctor Who history in that story, they did that and gave it to Dodo, is absolutely buck wild, and I really cannot wait to see what they do with Dodo next, and I hope they do have plans with her in the future. They've got some First Doctor box sets coming out next year, so I hope that Dodo, and by extension Lauren Cornelius, is part of those selections. I really hope so. Harvey says, TARDIS, do you think 8 should return for the 60th? Personally, I think it would be amazing. I can imagine the chemistry between 13 and 8, it would really work. What do you think? So if it happens for the 60th, it won't be... Jodie Whittaker, I don't think, will be involved. You can't just have the Doctor regenerate and then come back in the next story or the next season. Like, that's not fair to the new Doctor. Like, yeah, unfortunately, no. Unless it was just a blink and you'll miss it cameo or something where she's, like, on a screen in the background, like the stock footage in the Day of the Doctor. But bringing back 8, Paul McGann, I think bring him back at some point anyway and do it, absolutely. Maybe not for the 60th because you want the 14th Doctor to have to prove themselves. You want them to sort of like forge their own path forward rather than being compared to older Doctors. Of course, it's the 60th anniversary, but the priority creatively has to be with that new Doctor. You don't even need to do multi-Doctor stories for anniversaries. Like, obviously the 2 Doctors and Twice Upon a Time, in my opinion, are not great stories, but they are still multi-Doctor stories that aren't remotely related to an anniversary. You can just do it. Do the 60th anniversary specials, or season, or whatever they plan to do. Let the new Doctor find their own feet, and then maybe you can bring in an old Doctor. Robin McGinn says, since I'm writing my own series, 13, My Adventures and Nightmares with Doctor Who, there's a potential that I might give my new companion character, Robert McReady, a spin-off series too. Awesome, go for it. Dream big. Enjoy it. Enjoy the process. And thank you, Bobby. Have a great night and Merry Christmas. Thank you so much. And to you as well, Jeremy Duncan, thank you so much. I'll stick around for a few more minutes and then we'll call it a night there. Nearly been streaming for 3 hours. Thank you so much, everyone, for sticking around. Dr. Mew says, if you were a guest writer and had just one chance to write an episode and could do whatever you wanted, what would you write and with what Doctor? Well, it would have to be the incumbent. I don't want to be a guest writer and for the 14th Doctor and say, yeah, let's bring back Sylvester McCoy. If it had to be like whatever story I could tell, I would bring back either Ace or Susan. It sounds like the recurring thing, but it's basically Thanos taking the gauntlet and saying, fine, I'll do it myself. Like, if you folks aren't going to do it, I'll bloody do it for you, okay? All right, I'm putting my foot down, or my glove, I should say. However, says, also, Mr. TARDIS, you look tired, no offense, man. Firstly, I always look tired. I think it's just how my face structure works and sometimes lack of hydration. But I actually am tired. I did not sleep well last night. Darius says Tom Baker didn't do the 5 Doctors because he thought it was too soon after he left. And also because he didn't want to be 1/5 the main character. But as Cyber Jeff has pointed out in my review of Earthshock, that's the job. And John Hurt says to subscribe to the official Mr. TARDIS YouTube channel. That was my John Hurt impression.